Hey guys, bear with me for a second while I set things up. Just making sure the sound is off on the iPad so I can see your chat, but my back is to the computer, so I need to be able to see your questions while we're painting. We're gonna work in the lips journal today. I'm gonna move it out of the way for just a second because anybody who follows me on social media right now knows that I am redoing one of the walls in my art room, and we're putting up a bunch of IKEA pegboard, which meant that I needed to do a little bit more purging, which, to be honest, I should have probably done before we moved. But at some point, anybody who's moved your whole house knows at some point you just get tired of purging things and you just say, just pack it. just pack it. I'm done. Just pack it. So I'm just now, after almost 2 years, going back through things, and I found a few of these Catholic prayer cards in my grandmother's stash of stuff from family members' funerals. And years ago, in the beginning days of my YouTube channel, I made this little Psalm 23 journal. For those that don't know, while I may no longer be a practicing Catholic, I was raised Catholic. And Psalm 23 happens to be my favorite. And I keep prayer cards from friends and family who have passed in here. And so I wanted to make sure before I tossed these that they weren't already in here. I've got 2 of my great-grandfathers and my mother's grandmother, which I guess, I don't know why I'm surprised that my grandmother knew her, that she kept her card. It kind of surprises me, but I guess it shouldn't have, because that's who my grandmother was. So before we get started with painting, and while we wait for people to come in, I am going to just take a real quick check in here. Okay, see, I have my grandfather's dad is already in here. I also have just some random prayer cards in here, which is funny that I even have this because, as I said, I'm really not a practicing Catholic. Good morning. But at the same time, when somebody passes, I guess it's my way of memorializing them. And I just feel like, I don't know, I guess I feel like I should keep something. That's a dear friend of ours who passed a few years ago. She was not very old. So these 2 aren't in here. So we're going to just use some tape runner. Where to put it? So I made this journal. It's a hardcover journal. And instead of paper signatures, I just put these little like sort of strips. And then when I get a new prayer card, I just run some tape runner on one edge. And then I put the prayer card in like that. Now on this one, because I'm going to actually tape it this way, I'm going to run the tape runner on the card. I need a scrap piece of paper. This will work. Good morning, Kathy. We're going to get started really quick with the, in just a minute, with the lips journal. I just wanted to stick these prayer cards I found in my Psalm 23 journal. I was glad. I was going to just throw a bunch of stuff away, and I was on with Lisa, actually, when I found these. We were doing a chat, and yeah, I'm glad. I was going to just, put the whole stash of cards into one of the donation bags, or purge bags, and I'm glad I looked through them first. So I do have more purge stuff coming. I actually ran out of boxes, so I need to get more boxes. All right, so here is our lips journal, and I did a journal like this, which I finished at the beginning of the year, I think right after the first of the year, that was just all eyeballs. It's the same size journal. This is a Moleskine watercolor journal. I don't know. I think it's a 3x5. And I've done 3 sets of lips already. Like with the eyeballs, I've asked for people to send me pictures, images of their lips, smiling lips, sad lips, kissing lips, just lips, and made up lips, pierced lips, any lips. Just the lips though, because that's what we're doing in the journal. And so then I download the photos and I put them in my telephone. And my desk is a mess. I put them in my phone, and I have a photo album on my phone of just lips. So where is my phone? Speaking of which, let's see, phone and a bottle of drinking water, because let's not, and let's not have it open because we don't want to dip our paintbrushes in it. I'm going to make sure the sound is off on my telephone because, okay. So I have this album here on my phone that's just all seeing lips. So if you want to send me a picture of your lips, then you can do that over Facebook Messenger. If you guys, there's only 4 of you watching. If you want me to go pop into the other room real quick, I can go grab it. Pretty sure I know where it's at. Let me go grab it. Hang on. Okay, I may not be able to grab it because I don't know where I put it. I'll have to do it later because I'm not exactly sure. It wasn't where I thought it was. So, yeah, so I'm not sure exactly where it's at. So I'll have to figure that out because it is around here somewhere. I put it away in a safe place, you guys. You should all be very familiar with that safe place. And I thought I knew which safe place that was, but evidently I don't have any idea. But anyway, I did, and you probably can search my name and eyeball journal on any of the social medias and you'll see some pictures. I did post all the pictures to Instagram. So if you go back in my Instagram account, so I will try to find it and do a video, and maybe I'll do the video and I will make sure the link gets shared around to the art groups. Yeah, but I don't know where it went. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set my phone to not turn itself off because that is annoying when you're trying to paint something and it turns itself off. So we don't want it to go to sleep. Then we're going to go back to the lips journal album. Why do I keep calling it journal? Well, I really have had my coffee this morning. Okay, so my sister's friends started sending me lips. And then, of course, I took pictures of my own lips. Leslie McGrath, my friend Leslie McGrath's niece sent me her lips, which I've done already. So we are going to start with this one, a friend of my sister's. She has a beautiful pair of lips. Look at that. And I'm going to set this off camera right about there. We're going to take some spray bottle full of water. This is water with oxgall liquid in it to aid in the rewetting of the paints. This is a palette of watercolor paints that's just flesh tones. Some custom mixed flesh tones, some colors I would use to make flesh tones, or highlight different things if I was doing just more of a traditional face or body parts. This is the palette I would use in watercolor. Some of these are Jane Davenport paints. Some of these are Van Gogh paints. Some are Grumbacher paints. Some are custom mixed by myself. And I just find it very handy to have them all in a palette together. Now I do have on the table, I have the M. Graham titanium white, which is more of a gouache. It's a more opaque color. And some of these are transparent. Some of these are opaque, which is kind of important in the way we're going to paint today. I do have some watercolor gouaches on the table, and I have a lavender, and I have Juan Brilliant #1 and #2, which are very, these actually I just got in the other day. These are very peachy, yellowy flesh tones. They can be sort of, that one's very beigey. They can be sort of used by themselves as a flesh tone. They can be used as color correctors. So the first thing we're going to do is spray our paints. Oh, and I do have one metallic in here. And to be honest, I don't remember why the metallic is in here, but there's a gold in here. I have no idea. If I can figure out where that journal is, I will I'll do a video. I'll go look for it later when I'm not worried about you guys just hanging out here live on camera with me not being here, just, you know, floating in midair. I've got way too many tools on my table, but that's all right. Part of the course. Yeah, that's how I kind of feel. You never know when you're going to need gold. Now I have a variety of paintbrushes here. I've got some black watercolor crayons. I've got, this is actually a makeup spatula. I kind of find it handy with some things. I've got fountain pen. No, a dip pen. Some straws. I just, there's way too many things on the table, but we're just going to leave it. I'm going to start with, let's see. I think I'm going to start with a bigger round brush and a Skoda round #8. And I saw a Pinterest tutorial a while ago that kind of spurred me on with this lips journal, which I was going to do anyway, but then it kind of gave me the idea for how exactly I was going to do it. Where with watercolor, traditionally, I always tell you all, and I tell myself, start light and work your way darker. I saw a little clip or a single image of somebody doing lips on Pinterest, and I don't remember who it was, or I would tell you, where they actually were doing it what looked like watercolor. I don't remember that the post actually said it was watercolor, but they actually started with the dark and worked their way lighter. And I thought to myself, why couldn't we do that? Why couldn't we do that with traditional watercolor, more opaque watercolor layered with transparent watercolor, maybe add some gouache in there. No pen. These have there's no pen, there's no pencil. These are just paint. So I thought, I need to try that. So I tried it in one of my daily drawing journals. I love the way it turned out. So I thought that's what we're going to do with this watercolor journal. And the idea is to fill this all up. So again, if you have lips that you want to send me a picture of, yours or someone else's, your partners, your kids, just the lips, I'll paint them and put them in the journal. All right. So for these particular lips, first we're going to, what I've been doing, I'll grab my rag because I'm going to need that, is I get my brush wet, and then with just water, I'm going to get the page wet. Then I'm going to reach in and I'm going to look at the photo in question. And I'm going to grab a flesh tone or a combination of flesh tones from my palette that I think will work to suggest the color of the person in question's skin. And I'm going to lay some of that color down, and then I'm going to just, with some water, I'm going to push it around so it's not too dark in any one spot. Because again, we're just doing the lips. Open smile, closed smile, kissing face, frowny face, pierced lips, lips with lipstick, lips with, you know, whatever. Any lips. I haven't actually gotten anybody to send me open mouth lips, open smile lips. That would be interesting. Okay, so the other thing I forgot to do is plug the dryer in, so we're going to need that. Hang on. Okay, so if you work with watercolor, you know, the one thing about watercolor is it goes where the water is. So if you don't want the next color to spread around and go someplace where you don't want to, it to go, then you need to dry the page. So we're going to dry this. And I'm going to warn you guys when I'm doing these lives and I'm going to get the dryer out that I'm going to do this. And so if the noise bothers you, turn the sound down. So we're going to turn the dryer on. You might want to turn the sound down. The other thing you'll notice with all of my journals, whether it's watercolor or mixed media journal, I always have a piece of plastic behind the page, and that's just to protect the prior work from getting messed up, or as Shannon Green would say, narfed up, because I'm heavy-handed with the paint or whatever. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, so open smile lips are harder to paint, but I'm up for the challenge. Okay, so then I'm going to look at the inspiration photo. And again, I don't right now remember her name, but she's got a beautiful pair of lips. And I am going to use this little palette here to mix up a shadow color. So unlike our traditional watercolors, where I always say work lighter, start lighter, work your way darker, we are going to start darker, which is really contrary. But I want to make a color that's sort of suggestive of the shadows in and around her lips. So that was Phthalo Crimson and Jane Davenport's dark brown color called Bear. I'm going to grab a little teeny tiny bit of Van Gogh's Payne's Gray. When you're mixing colors like this, you want to, you can always add more. It's hard to go back. That might be a little too purple, so we'll add a little bit more brown. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to take this color and just the tip of my brush, and I'm looking at the seam between her two lips. And then the shadow underneath the bottom lip. Now, before I get too far, I'm going to rinse off my brush. And I'm going to add some water. And now, right now, I'm just lifting some excess paint with a just clean damp brush, no paint on it. Okay. Then again, we're going to dry. So again, if you don't like the noise, turn the sound down because I'm going to get the dryer out. Thank you, Lisa, for sending the picture. Appreciate it. And anybody else who sends me a picture of your lips to use for inspiration for my journal, I'll thank you in advance. The reason I'm tilting the journal is so I can see the wet, shiny spots, by the way. Hey, Aunt Beck. So you will notice, although I'm breaking my own rule about starting with lighter colored paints and working my way darker, that I'm still not putting a ton of pigment on there. I'm looking to, with this process, build my colors up. So I already have some sort of pinky colors here on a plate from a prior pair of lips, and I am going to use those. Use what I have. And for the moment, we're going to stick with this brush, although I'll tell you the truth, at some point it's going to get to be too big, the brush. So now we're going to just map in the sort of shape of her lips. Yes, I hope everybody is staying safe and sound, that you are, you know, keeping busy. That helps with the anxiety, I think. I think we all have to develop new routines, because I don't think that we're going back to what we all think of as normal anytime soon. But it's okay, because we're all creative, so we have rooms full of art supplies with which to play. So one thing about her lips is she has this sort of smirky smile. I just love the expression on here. So I'm just trying to add to that. I'm going to switch back and forth between these two, the sort of red palette and the brown palette. How detailed you get with it's up to you. I like to be more suggestive than give too much detail away. Okay, let's see. On this one, I have my white, and there's like a big puddle of it from when I was working on this the other day. So I'm going to work on adding the white and adding in, looking at where the lighter spots are on her lips in the photo. Okay, I think it's time to switch to the smaller brush. Okay. Sometimes I will be here like this with the white tube. I'm just grabbing the paint out of the right out of the tube. So I'm just constantly referring back to the photo. Using the fact that the gouache or titanium white is more opaque to sort of correct any color that might be in the wrong place. And then I'm going to go and I need to mix some more red. So we're going to take the same phthalo crimson and a little bit of Bear. Kind of mix it with what's on here. Let's see, let's mix in some, what happens if we mix in a little bit of peach cobbler? Yeah, that's good. I have found that the Jane Davenport paints are more opaque than the your traditional watercolor. But in this case, in the flesh tone palette, that really kind of works to my advantage because I can really use them to cover up layers. And I'm kind of enjoying learning how to use the more opaque paints with the more transparent paints to get something unique, like in this lips journal. I see the chat scrolling. Hang on 1 second because I'm not looking. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I'm glad you're safe, Aunt Beck. So it's just a matter of adding lines and marks until you're happy with the way it looks. And just keep at it until you get it where you want it. If it's anything like the eyeball journal, towards the end, I felt like, now I've got it. And it's really just a practice, sort of like with the 30 and 30, think of it as little painting studies. And, the whole idea is just to learn something new, right? So that's a pretty pair of lips. All right, on to the next. So that's not bad. All right, so next, my husband sent me a bunch of his lips this morning. This is Fred. So what I will tell you is the men with the, facial hair is challenging. So when I did the other pair of lips, this is a friend of my sister's, Jose, beautiful pair of lips. And he's got a little bit of a mustache and a little bit of under lip hair there. So what I did was I just suggested the hair rather than, rather than try to paint the hair. I just suggested the hair. Whoops. I don't even know. Can you see that? Let's see. So I just suggested his hair. So men's hair is a little different. This is the lips that we just did. These are Jose's lips. Yep, Kathy, doing it now. And these are Leslie McGrath's niece's lips. And these are mine. Because, of course, if I was going to screw up the first one, I wasn't going to screw up anybody else's but mine. Yeah, so the hint of hair, rather than trying to frustrate yourself with learning how to do the lips in a way that you like and also paint hair, just try suggesting the hair. Okay. Let's hold that open and let's pick another picture. Should we try Fred's lips? I have like 5 pictures of his lips. He's got a lot of chin hair right now because, you know, hello, COVID. Serve him right if I did that one, right? The fish lips. He called that his fish lips. Let's maybe do this one. We'll try Fred's lips. We'll see what happens. So yeah, so instead of trying to, you know, make yourself crazily insane, because painting is, that's the one. You like the fish lips or the smiling lips, Kathy? While I'm talking, let me know. Instead of making yourself crazy trying to paint the hair, do more suggesting of the hair. I think that you'll be less stressed about the results that you get. And you'll like the results a lot better. For me, trying to paint with perfection does the opposite of relaxing me. It just completely stresses me out. And so I don't even try it generally anymore. You're going to probably want that. The fish lips. Okay, we can do fish lips. Holy cow. Fish lips. His fish lips. That's Fred's fish lips. All right. So like with the other ones, we'll start with the bigger brush and we will start with a flesh tone. And since my husband's the epitome of pasty white man, means a light flesh tone. Because, you know, yeah, I'm going to just use what I have. I didn't get the page wet first, but you could really do it either way. But you want to make sure you get some water in here. Because the idea, like with this one, is to just suggest the flesh tone. It's not to like actually paint the whole face. Morning, Barbara. That being said, I think we need a little more of that because that wasn't very much. So we'll put some here. We'll grab a little bit of, I just said he was pasty white guy. So let's see, let's grab a little bit of tiki, just a little bit. Warm it up just a little bit. Ooh, fuzz in my brush. Okay. So we'll dry that. He's got so much facial hair right now. Sorry, I should have warned you. Dryer is going on if you want to turn the sound off. Okay, so with Jose's lips, which again are these, and he had just a hint, I just hinted at the facial hair around his lips. I did the shadow between the lips and some of the facial hair suggestion all at the same time. So we're going to do the same thing again. So for between the lips, let's mix up our shadow color and let's take some of the custom light flesh tone that I mixed, and we're going to put a bunch of it in here. I'm going to put in some of the dark brown and a little bit of the Payne's gray. And let's see, him and his goofy expression. I'm trying to map out where the lips are going to go and where the, right now I'm just looking at the line between his lips. Okay. And then the suggestion of hair. There's some hair underneath the lips there. And then up here. Okay. And then I'm going to get the water out. Don't go too far before you blend out. If you don't want all these lines and marks, you want to get in there pretty quickly. Some of these paints dry really quickly. And then, so if you don't get in there really quick and blend out your color, it's too late. And then you have to figure out how to correct. Hey, Laura. Good morning. This one's a challenge for definitely sure. I'm going to take this dark color because, you know, neither of us are young anymore. So he's got some, you know, lines, wisdom lines in his lips. We'll call them wisdom lines. And again, unlike, for those just joining us, unlike traditional watercolor painting, for me anyway, where I always tell you start lighter and work your way darker. When I'm painting these lips, I'm usually starting with the darker colors and working my way lighter, which is the opposite of what I've ever said for you all to do. Okay. So before I move on, I just want to make sure I have suggestions of shadows in the right place, that I have kind of the right basic shape for his lips. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how these turn out. Okay. Whoops. We're going to dry. I do too, Kathy. You know that they call the brown spots that we get wisdom spots. So I just thought, you know, when we get the lines on our lips and our face, why aren't they called wisdom lines? I mean, you know, makes sense to me. All right, so now we're going to mix up a sort of pinky color for him, for the color, natural color of his lips. I was going to say, he doesn't have lipstick on. That would be funny, though, if he did. I'm liking having sort of 3 basic palettes to work with for mixing colors. So I have one that's just for the shadow color, one that's for the lip color, and this one that's for the sort of highlight and correction colors. And that's actually working well for me. I think I need a little bit of peach cobbler in that, maybe. Okay. Nell, what were you looking for? Never mind, found it. I feel lost in the conversation. Of course, that's nothing new because, you know, as I keep telling you all when I'm, you know, vlogging or chatting with you in real life, Corona brain, hello. So you see here, if you layer your transparent color, although it's a lighter color, it's transparent over the dark shadow color. You can still see that dark shadow color. And I'm really enjoying kind of doing that more opposite of like the traditional thing with my paints. I am getting to the point where this brush is too big. And that's usually where I know I need to. I think his lower lip is too big. Okay, we need to dry that, and I need to switch brushes. Oh, you were trying to find Messenger. Ah. Okay, I love my husband dearly, but he doesn't have lips that are that full. So can you see that? So I need to correct the shape because it's not quite right. This is the picture. Whoops. Oh, good for you. Oh, I was under business. Okay. So we're going to switch now to the smaller brush, and we need to spray some of these again. So the one thing I find about the Jane Davenport paints, although I do like them because, as I said before, they're more gouache, they're more opaque, which I like when I'm doing something like this, is they are difficult to stay re-wetted. Re-wetted, is that a word? Re-wet? Yeah, so the upper area darker. They both need to be thinner, and I'm going to adjust the shape. But you will find with all the lips, I do this. It's a process for me. Yeah, I think it needs to be shorter and maybe a little bit wider. So let's mix up some more shadow color. Oops, I just got watercolor paint on my phone. I wish I could tell you all that was the first time that's happened. But yeah, no. You'll notice I just got the paper wet. Sorry, I looked up and the computer was frozen. I just got the paper wet, and then I took my rag and did this to lift up some of the pigment because that was too much. I'm not looking at the chat for the minute, so hang on. If you're sending me something, hang on. Dark and inside, squishy apart, provided. Yeah. I don't disagree with you now. Which is why I did this part, but I also feel like I need to flatten out. I need to do color correct this. Let's see. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some of this white over here. I keep trying to spray the watercolor with my drinking water bottle, you guys. I'm pretty sure that's not a good idea. So looking at, you know, I could do this so you guys could, whoops, kind of see the picture. You know, they're Fred's lips, so if you all want to try doing Fred's lips, I can load it to my website, A Life of Art and Self-Expression, later, and you guys can try painting Fred's lips. Okay, so we're gonna grab some couple of colors. Let's mix up a couple colors here. Forgot to feed the fish. I forget a lot of things you know right now. I'm just blaming it on Corona brain. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's too brown. Needs to be a little redder. So I'm going to put just a little bit. Then I'm going to add some water. Move it around. Most of your colors of watercolor you can lift. If you catch them right away. Some will lift no matter how long they've been on the page if they are wet enough. And this kind of painting, again, these, you know, little lips and intentionally working my way into and through a painting in a way other than what I'm used to is a great way to experiment with a new product, with new techniques, with lifting color. I'm not sure they're coming out as fishy as they are in the picture, but we're going to keep working at it until we get something we're happy with. It helps brain function. Yeah. So, right now we need to stay busy. We need to stay active mentally and physically. It'll help your stress level. Even if what you paint, you're like, well, I'm not so sure. I like the finished result, but I learned a lot. So the thing is to just keep busy, in my opinion. And I think one of the reasons I'm liking this process is because I'm liking the idea of layering the colors back and forth on top of each other. It's something that I like about acrylic painting too. So we're going to take, let's see, we're going to do some mixing over here. Take the Payne's Gray. Going to add just a little bit of one of our browns to that. So one of the things the more traditional watercolorists will do is they'll float around on a piece, and they'll, while say the lips are wet, they'll do like the highlights around the outside of the lips to let it dry. I tend to use the heat embossing gun a lot because I have like no patience. But if you want to try it the other way, you can. Let's see. So I have this Princeton Select. It's a bristle fan brush. And oops, that was too much. Too much. Too much paint. And this is normally a brush that's in my acrylic stash of stuff. But what I'm finding lately is I'm using more of my fan brushes with my watercolor paint than I am with my acrylic paint. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he does, but okay, then I'm going to get in with a small round brush. Now the M. Graham paints take a lot longer to dry than say, for instance, the Jane Davenport paints, which dry very quickly. So I know I have some like working time with the white, so I know I can get a little farther. Yeah, I wish I could tell you all that paint on my phone has not ever happened before, but that would just be a flat out lie. There's a big giant blob of Payne's Gray on my phone right now. He was just goofing off. I'm sure he didn't expect me to paint these lips today. Because, I caught him between cups of coffee. We will be in future broadcasts, alternating between painting and slow stitching. I'm still obsessed with slow stitching, and I'm about to start a Frida Kahlo, I think, face. So we won't, it's not a stitch we'll be able to get done all in one broadcast, but I may start doing that with you all. Let's see. Maybe I want this one. So I'm barely touching my brush to the page. You'll see in just a minute. I'll show it, hold it up to the camera. Adding some of those wisdom lines. The idea, remember, is to, when you're trying this, you're trying to just make art inspired by the photo. We're not trying to exactly copy the photo. That's not what we do. If you want an exact copy of the photo, that's why they invented cameras and have photographers. I have to say, it's not like the photo. I think it could be fish lippier, but I like where that turned out. Fish lippier. Is that a thing? Fish lippier. So that's how it turned out. And again, these are Fred's actual fish lips. I think it's pretty close. But there's no mistaking that that's probably a male pair of lips with all that darkness around the lips. Although if you let my mustache grow in, it might look like that. So, we've had the joke for years that I think my facial hair is thicker than his. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Can do one more pair of lips. I got another pair of lips sent from somebody. I don't remember who. We can do one more. I usually do these in threes. So right now we have these lips. I can bring you in a little closer. Hold on. Maybe. Oh, yeah. There we go. So we have these lips so far. So we can do one more. And, forcing yourself to just focus on like one thing in your journal, it makes you learn that one thing really well and learn what you do or don't like about it. And one more pair of lips, these ones. The picture's not the greatest, but I have enough detail. I can paint those. I don't remember who they are, but somebody that sent it to me over Facebook in a comment on my post about the lips journal. So if you're out there, thank you. So again, let's start with a larger round brush. This is a Skoda number 8. And let's add some paint to that because that's not quite the right color. Let's grab a pasty white color. Well, we'll just use this color. That's fine. Can add some water. Move it around a little bit. I don't care if it gets sort of blotchy and suggestive, because I'm all about suggestive paintings and not realistic paintings, so I'm all right with that. I'm gonna dry it. I need to find the eyeball journal. I wonder where I put it away somewhere. Away. I don't know where it is. Okay, let's stay with that brush for a minute and let's, map out the shadows. Different clips. Hold on. My clip is just making me crazy. Let's use this clip, shall we? All right. Let's grab a color for the shadow. In this case, the person does not look happy. And there are some smile or frown line suggestions. Okay. We're going to grab our water. Move things around. Push the pigment around on the page. So for those that don't know, I have a couple of Facebook art groups. One is just for general, sharing and inspiration, discussing, what you will, that's going on with your creative life. We don't have too many restrictions in a life of art and self-expression other than be nice. The other one, My Creative Year, is strictly about sharing your art. But there are 2 groups. And maybe Lisa, if you're still here, can you put a link up for those that aren't members? They can join. Lisa is one of the teachers and admins over in, well, she's admin in both groups and she's teacher in My Creative Year. Okay. That already has a good suggestion of the mood of the lips already, if you can see that. All right, so let's make sort of a pinky lip color. At some point, if I keep painting lips, what I'm going to need to do is add to this palette some custom, like natural flesh toned lip colors. I'm going to have to mix up some things. Because I have like Lemonade, which is a very pink color from the Jane Davenport collection, but it's very pink and it's not exactly right for most people's lips. For some fleshed things it is, but okay, let's see. I think I already need to switch to a smaller brush. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Hey, Michelle. See you lurking there in the background. Michelle's another admin and teacher, FYI. Or admin and sharer. She doesn't want to be called a teacher. Okay, again, I made her upper lip too full. So I have this habit, and this is another reason why this is good for me, of just painting all my faces with the same kind of lips. And I have a tendency to give all of my faces big, giant, full lips. And I'm hoping this will help break me out of that. So I'm just trying to correct my shape, because the shape is off now because I messed it up. Because, you know. Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, last week we got a thumbs down on the live broadcast before we even got started, so I'm not sure how that happened. I think this pair of lips is just as challenging as Bob's lips. Sometimes. I think it's a lot more challenging to get the shape of the lip right without at least suggesting what is that little thing underneath your nose, between your nose and your lips, with the name of that space, that little thing? Y'all know what I mean. Without at least, you see me trying to suggest this here. It's definitely a lot more challenging to get the lips right without suggesting some of the stuff around them. That's totally not the right color. I'm just going straight with this. It's a great question. So you do sometimes. It's definitely more challenging. It's definitely harder. At the same time, we none of us have any place else to be. So, I mean, you know, I have nothing else to do but practice my art and experiment with new techniques and trying to be better at my craft. So, you know. And also if the picture is a little bit grainy, that makes it really hard too. And this one's a little bit grainy. Oh, philtrum. Yeah, the indented part. So you'll see me trying to at least suggest that indented part, the philtrum, because without that, at least that suggestion, it's really hard to get a complete sort of picture of the lips. And even in a grainy picture, you can see suggestions of lightness and darkness of color. I do think for my creative year, and it's the first time I'm voicing this out loud, that I may do a watercolor tutorial for just that group. It won't be here public on YouTube. That is going to be lips. We're working with contrasting colors this month. So I may do some lips that are like non-traditional, non-flesh colors, but that are contrasting colors, like maybe purple for the highlight and the opposite of purple, which is I think yellow for the, purple for the shadow and like yellow for the highlight. Yeah, and suggesting, that's why I go in with the white. So you want to suggest the Cupid's bow. You want to suggest, you guys are getting a glare there from the water. Sorry about that. And that is running. I do not want that much there. So let's see. There we go. And you'll see me a lot just working from the tube here. Suggesting lines and marks can go a long way to making your painting be what you want it to and have the message that you want it to have. So I believe the Cupid's bow is this part right here that's at the base of the philtrum, but that little space, the indent underneath your nose above your lips is called a philtrum, if I'm not mistaken. Need some more water on that. Forever learning art. How are you this morning? We are just painting. We've taken a little bit of a break from slow stitching and we're doing some painting this morning. For those that were wondering, has she stopped painting? Is she just slow stitching? Of course not. So I'm taking some of this sort of gray color that we mixed up for Bob's lips, for the prior set of lips, and I've added some of the flesh toned colors to it, and I'm just using it to help me darken up some of the shadows. Yeah, lazy today. That's me every day. Yesterday, both my husband and myself, we just had trouble getting going. It definitely felt like Monday. Of course, today kind of feels like Monday too, but you know, every day feels like Monday right now. That's okay. We have more time to play with our art, right? Spend with our family members that live with us, all the things, right? Do some DIY projects. That's what we're doing. Let's do this a little bit. But also let's do something crazy with this pair of lips. And let's grab Forever Peach. That's not the name of the color. It's called Peach Cobbler. It's a Jane Davenport color. It's very yellow. Yeah, so I'm for those that don't know, because you don't follow me on social media, I've taken my back wall where my small bits bank is apart, where I keep all my trims and my mixed media pieces and stuff like that. I have one wall that has tools and paints on it, and I have another wall that has all those bits, the hardware bits and the crazy bits that we save. And I'm taking the small bits bank apart, and we're going to be putting up IKEA pegboard. Right now, it's just all apart. Of course, we're doing it at the same time. We're also doing a garage reno, so lots of things are apart right now. Okay, one thing I want to do is I want to take some of this color. I'm going to mix it with the white that's on here. And at some point with my 3 palettes of paint, I will tell you, at some point I get to the point where they're all dirty, so dirty, and I can't mix the colors I want because they're too dirty. So then I will just clean them off. I should be using a different brush for this. Let's go with a flat brush. This is a Princeton Neptune half-inch flat. Half-inch flat. So I want to just lighten up some of these parts around her face. I don't remember whose lips these were. It's going to bug me now. So you can see by adding just a little bit of that peach to this, look how much that makes a difference with the highlighted parts around her face. I do want to do this. It won't cover up some of the blotches I have in the wrong place that I don't like completely, but it will make them less visible. But I'm not really about getting rid of them completely. Less visible, yeah. Completely, no. Yes. It's almost lunchtime. So my stomach tells me, of course, my stomach also is telling me, maybe we want more coffee. My brain is going, no, you shouldn't have any more coffee. So I like that set of lips. I'm going to stop now. So that's one of the hard things about doing any painting or any artwork is knowing when to stop. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to assume we're still broadcasting because the computer behind me is broadcasting, although the Wi-Fi signal to my iPad keeps freezing, to be honest with you. So let me go, hang on. There we go. So I like this set of lips. You know, the whole world is on the internet at the same time, so I'm not surprised. So I would encourage you to try something like this. It doesn't have to be lips. It could be flowers. It could be eyeballs, but it could be anything. But just try getting a little, you know, journal. It doesn't have to be big. There's something about a small page and just doing a little study painting that I think is very therapeutic. Yeah, animal eyes. You could do anything. You could do insects. I like, although I do have a couple of large watercolor palettes and I do use them often. When I'm doing studies like this, I do find myself more interested in using a limited palette, which is one of the reasons I have a number of these small palettes made up. And again, this is my flesh tone one. So there is some white in here. This is Royal and Langnickel titanium white. And then Jane Davenport's Lemonade, a custom flesh color I made. Jane Davenport's Namaste. Is that what that says? Yeah. Van Gogh Azo Yellow Deep. Jane Davenport Peach Cobbler. Jane Davenport Chant. Jane Davenport Coconut Cavern. Van Gogh Permanent Red Deep. Grumbacher Phthalo Crimson. Another Jane Davenport. We have Redwood, Unite, and Tiki. Then another custom color of mine, and this one too, and this one. These are light, red light, blue dark, and red dark flesh tone colors that I mixed up. Then we have Jane Davenport Bear, Van Gogh Payne's Gray. There's a black and a gold. And then on the table in tubes, I have 3 gouache colors. I have the lavender, Joan Brilliant 1 and 2, and then titanium, another titanium white. Just because there are sometimes, rather than working out of this pan, I prefer to get it straight out of the tube. Yeah, just pick a subject. And, you know, just, you don't have to show anybody. Don't be like me and don't put it on, you know, your YouTube channel and, you know, get crazy with it. Just do it a little studies. And if you do a small journal that's not only small in size, but not too many pages, you'll be more likely to finish it. So that's the other thing. If I had a journal that had more pages than this, I'd never get it done. And as it was when I started the eyeball journal, it took me a long time, partially because we moved during the process, but it took me a long time to get it done. When I can, I will find the eyeball journal and I'll do a recording, a journal flip of it for you all. But I think it's a great practice. And I thank you. And I do think that we're going to do some non-traditional lips in my creative year. I'm going to do a little video tutorial, I think, over there with some crazy colors. You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, this is a little 3x5 moleskin watercolor journal. And it's not only great for a project like this, but what I also found is it's great if I want to carry it. Not that we can go anywhere right now, but if I wanted to just even take it into the backyard and work in the backyard on the patio table, this is a great little journal to take with me. The square tins are, so they have tins like this at Paper Mart. I would kind of recommend maybe getting them there. I got these on Amazon. I can give you all the link later, but every shipment I've gotten from them came dented. Like, I mean, every single one. These, and you could use any little square tin. These came blank, and I put my artwork on the outside and then covered it with glossy accents. So I glued it with E6000. And I love them. They're all the same size. I have a few of them, but they kept sending me to them, and every single shipment came dented. But they have this same or similar tin at Paper Mart, and this tin measures about 4.5. I think it's about 4.5 square. Yeah, it's about 4.5 square, and it's about 3/4 of an inch deep. So you might, so look over at Paper Mart. The only thing about getting them at Paper Mart is I think you had to buy like 24 of them or something. Yeah, don't forget to thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. The recording will be on my YouTube channel later for you all. And if you do decide to do a, you're welcome. Yeah. So, and there's somebody on Etsy selling a really big one of these. It's like 12 inches by 9 inches or something crazy that they say holds 198 half pans, but they want $30 for it. That's too much money. But yeah, you could get the little small Altoid tins, but I liked this because you can hold actually a lot of paint. These can hold a lot of paint. What was I going to say? Oh, if you do some little study journals, whether it's lips or something else, and you want to share, I would love to see what you're doing. Share in one of the art groups, either a Life of Art and Self-Expression or My Creative Year. We have tutorials over My Creative Year that are usually for that year, that group only. And yeah, don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, stay creative. It really does help with that mental stress we're all dealing with right now. And don't forget to go and do something nice for yourself because you deserve it. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.